On the last episode of Menace, the Ken story, Ken and M.I.A. were officially broken up, and he found that the separation went much easier than expected. But that was the only thing that was easy. M.I.A. called Ken over to the house one day, citing that it was an emergency. Initially, he believed that she was just up to her old antics, but he reluctantly agreed to go over. Once he was there, M.I.A. blew his mind. Apparently, she and Black weren't cousins. They shared an intimate relationship, and it was entirely possible that Malik was Black's son. Additionally, M.I.A. confessed that she had only approached Ken at Black's insistence, hoping that he'd be willing to sell drugs for him while he was in prison. Black and M.I.A. had been selling drugs together while living in the same house where Ken and M.I.A. lived. But the biggest shocker was Black and M.I.A. had made a deal with Rob, and Black skipped town with the money, leaving M.I.A. responsible for paying it back. Ken went to Rob, hoping he'd be able to buy M.I.A. some time. To no avail, of course. When he returned, M.I.A. told him that she'd borrowed the money from her aunt and everything was fine. That was Monday. And now, Chapter 24, M.I.A., narrated by Shandora Warren. Everything went back to normal that Tuesday. I went to work, and Malik and Kennedy were with me while M.I.A. was out of town. I never told anyone what was going on. I didn't feel like I needed to. It was all taken care of. Only it wasn't taken care of. It wasn't taken care of at all. See, one thing that I had completely lost sight of was the fact that M.I.A. was a liar. For some reason, I depended on her to tell me the truth. I don't know why I did that. She had lied about so much prior to that point. She had even lied about our whole relationship. But for some reason, I trusted her. And when Thursday rolled around, I casually called to make sure that everything was in place. She was supposed to pay Rob the next day. I called. No answer. I called again. No answer. So I decided to show up at her house. She told me that she'd be in North Carolina for a few days. That was on Monday. By my calculations, she should have been back. I got to M.I.A.'s house and saw that her car was parked in the driveway. I guess she didn't see me calling, I thought. I rang the doorbell. No answer. For some reason, I began to feel uneasy. I still had a key, so I let myself in. Everything looked completely in order until I got to M.I.A.'s bedroom, the bedroom that she and I used to share. It was completely cleaned out. The furniture was still there, but all of her clothes, shoes, and purses were gone. I sat on the bed with my head spinning. In my heart, I knew what happened, but I didn't want to admit it. I didn't have to draw my own conclusions, though. I looked up and saw that there was a note taped to the mirror. I read it, and my heart sunk to my stomach. It said, "Ken, I'm sorry that I had to leave like this, but I'm going to do whatever I can to fix things. Please take care of the kids until I can get back. I know I'm asking a lot, especially with Malik, but I wouldn't ask if they didn't love you like they do. Thank you for being someone that I can really trust, even in spite of everything that I've done. Kiss my babies for me. I'm sorry. M.I.A." It hit me like a ton of bricks. M.I.A. hadn't gone to North Carolina to get the money from her aunt. M.I.A. ran, and by that point, I was several days behind. She obviously hadn't taken her car, so I didn't even know who she was with. All I could think was, why would you do this, M.I.A.? If Rob catches you, you are dead. Maybe she could somehow come up with the money and square it away with Rob. Even then, he'd probably still kill her strictly off of the principle. At that point, my only hope was that she was far, far away, even at the expense of the kids never seeing her again. I didn't sleep a wink that night, and when I got to work the next day, Hot Boy could tell that something was wrong. I didn't want to tell him what was going on. Really, I didn't. But there's something about carrying a load on your own. At some point in time, it starts to break you. Even though you know the other person can't help you carry it, you still feel compelled to tell them that it's heavy. So I told Hot Boy everything. And I mean everything. I told him about how me and Mia got into a relationship. That Black might have been Malik's dad. That Black ran off with Rob's money. Mia lied to me about getting the money, and then she skipped town. Hot Boy started running his fingers through his curly light brown hair. I began to realize that as a sign that he was thinking. He was quiet for a moment, and then he started speaking. He said, "Dang, Ken, you know Rob is going to kill her if she don't pop out with that money today, right?" Honestly, I couldn't care less about Mia. She dug a ditch that she probably deserves to waddle in. But you're my boy. And in spite of everything that crazy girl put you through, that's your daughter's mother. I ain't going to be in a position to help you and not do it. So I'm going to loan you the $25,000. We could work out the details of you paying it back later. But as for right now, we just need to keep Rob from killing her, if for no other reason for the kids. I watched him break my mom's neck with his bare hands, and I had to live without her for the rest of my life. I don't want that for your kids. So that's how it happened. That nigga Rob choked Hot Boy's mom to death while he was in the house. And then he took him in like nothing happened. That's a level of malice that the average human being will never understand. But I didn't have time to focus on that. I had to get to Rob. So Hot Boy withdrew the money from the bank, and I headed straight to his spot. A part of me wanted to throw it in his face. Literally. Like I wanted to take the money and literally throw it into his face. But the other part of me just wanted it to be over. I just wanted Mia to be safe. I didn't even know if I could contact her, but at the very least, she'd be safe. Maybe she'd decide to contact me, and I'd let her know that it was okay for her to come back. I parked outside of Rob's spot and sat for a second, and then it was time. Even though I was right outside, I called Rob. For some reason, I hadn't thought about calling prior to that point. He answered the phone. "Sup, la man?" I forewent the pleasantries and got straight to the point. "I'm outside. I got something that belongs to you. I think you might want it." Rob hung up the phone and appeared at the front door. For some reason, I was nervous. I didn't trust Rob. He was older, no longer had a crew, and I was there to even the score. Rob had no reason to cross me. Even still, I was apprehensive. I grabbed my gun and stuck it in my waistband, just in case. I walked inside and stood directly beside the door. I handed the money to Rob. It was still in the envelopes from the bank. "You want to count it?" I asked. Rob shook his head and said, "Nah, I trust you. But it's bigger than that now, la man. See, Mia was supposed to pay me at 12 o'clock this afternoon. It's around 2:30 now. But even bigger than that is the fact that she skipped town on Tuesday with no intention to pay me my money. Now, I asked you not to get involved, right? But once again, you let a girl drag you into something. It's like Shalonda all over again. But the consequences are bigger than jail this time. The last time we talked, you told me that this was your business too. So now it is. We got a new price, la man. You just gave me $25,000. That covers what Mia and Black owed me. But as you see, I no longer have a crew. So getting rid of bodies ain't free for me no more. I had to dig into my pockets to take care of Mia at 12 o'clock. That's on you now, la man. I had to pay somebody to kill Mia. Now you got to pay me that money back. You said it's your business, so you owe me another $25,000. Whoa, wait a minute. Run that back. I know he ain't say what I think he said. Suddenly, the room started spinning around me, and I felt like I was going to vomit. All I could say was, "Rob, you joking, right? Tell me you joking." He replied, "I wish I could, la man. This wasn't personal, and you know that. What type of message would I have been putting out if I would have let them slide with owing me $25,000? I couldn't let that go. You know better than most that I'm a principled guy. I had to stand on what I said I was going to do. And from what I heard, it was messy. Y'all ain't getting the body back." I knew he was telling the truth. I had watched him smother a man he loved with a plastic bag. He ain't think twice about having Mia killed, and I knew it. I think most people would have fallen apart in that moment. If I had lived a different life, I probably would have too. But that's not who I was. I had been challenging Rob on some level since I met him, and I wasn't about to just sit in the corner that day. So I asked him, "Why would I do that, Rob? I just paid you $25,000 that I didn't even owe you, and it was all for nothing. You got your money and Mia still got killed. And you think I'm going to pay you for killing her? Why would I do that? You going to get somebody to kill me if I say no?" "Well, I'm saying no. But I'm also telling you to be a man. Don't send nobody for me. I'm right here, now. Get your hands dirty, Rob. I'm saying no. Right here and right now. Do what you got to do and let the best man win." Rob stood in front of me. He was completely silent for a few seconds, and then he spoke. He said, "Yeah, I figured you were going to say that. If you ain't nothing else, you're predictable. Like I said before, you got heart. You ain't never really been the type to do something that you ain't want to do. So I figured you need a little motivation to help you move with a sense of urgency." Rob walked over to the couch and retrieved his cell phone. He turned the screen towards me. To my surprise, there was a picture of Kennedy and Malik. They were tied up in a basement. My eyes widened to the size of quarters. I looked at Rob, who hadn't changed his facial expression the entire time. I screamed, "What the heck, Rob? You kidnapped my kids?" Rob laughed, and he legitimately seemed to find the situation to be humorous. "Nah," he said. "Don't think of it as a kidnapping. Think of it more like an interception. Yeah, that's a good word. They got out of school early today for spring break. They should have gotten home when they got off the bus, but they got intercepted. But this is the thing. We can always redirect this. Your kids can come home. It's just going to cost you $25,000. See how this works? Now look, I want to let you know that I've been paying attention. The last time we talked, you told me that I don't have to be that guy all the time. And you're right. We have a history, and I do have a genuine affection for you. And you know how I felt about your brother. So for that reason, I'm not going to be that guy to you. My normal day is Friday. It has always been Friday. But just this once, I'm going to give you until Sunday. That gives you 1 week and 2 days to come up with my money. After that, I ain't got to tell you what's up. This is your one, little man." My goodness. I borrowed $25,000 to save Mia's life. Not only did she get killed anyway, but I have to pay Rob for killing her. And if I didn't pay for it, my kids were going to pay for it. Rob really kidnapped my kids. That dude ain't have no boundaries. And because he didn't have any boundaries, I was about to become a person who didn't have any boundaries either. That started with me lying to the people that I loved. I drove home and started plotting. First and foremost, Mia was dead. I knew that, but I couldn't tell anybody. And I wasn't about to be connected to her disappearance. I took the note that she wrote and burned it in my ashtray. I didn't need anybody finding it and asking me about the details of her departure. But people were sure to ask questions if they didn't see her or the kids, so I formulated a story. I hadn't seen Mia since Monday, but when I saw her, she told me that she'd be taking the kids out of town for spring break. That was my story. That way, if something happened, no one would question why I hadn't found it odd that I hadn't heard from them. But I wasn't going to let it go there. I was going to do whatever I had to do to get them back, by any means. As for Mia, it was too late for her. Mia would forever be M.I.A. Missing in action. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to follow Shenny Tells a Story on Facebook and Instagram. I'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to purchase books by Shandora Warren, they're all available on Amazon in ebook, paperback, and some in hardback formats. Please make sure to follow this podcast and share it with your family, friends, and frenemies, because all relationships matter, even the toxic ones. thank you so much for helping me to create the world that I want to see. Oh, yeah, you're welcome. Shine, little girl.